Today is Thursday, the 20th of September, 2018. It's The Gap, episode 437. I'm Luke Lawrie. Joab Gilroy's here. How you going, Joab?
I'm good. On this day, the 20th of September.
September, yeah. I was confused as to whether it was August or September. It is September.
That was what was throwing you.
Yeah.
Because, did you look at the date and you're like, 20, and you're like, which one's the 9th month? And then you have to count them out. I have to count them out if it's below 6.
Oh, on your fingers?
Yeah, I have to go January, February, March, April. April's the 4th.
What if you get to the end of the year? Do you go to toes or?
No, that's what if it's beyond 6, I'm all good.
Oh, okay.
I know everything after 6. It's just before 6. I get very confused.
Right.
Yep.
Fair enough. Look, fucking huge show. Maybe the biggest we've had.
The biggest we've had
this month.
For sure, this month.
Yeah.
Some big stuff. Some big stuff to talk about. One big thing that I can't talk about at all because of timing trickery. That's cool.
Yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2. We'll talk about that a little bit.
Yep.
You'll talk about that. I'm going to go see it after we finish recording this. I guess we can talk about it next week again.
Yeah.
We can talk about all the ways that I disagree with what you had to say.
Sure.
Yeah. What are we going to kick off with, though? I didn't play any games.
All right. That's fine.
The last time we recorded because I travelled to Bangkok.
Yeah.
To check out the Overwatch World Cup. And I found out that my Switch battery is dead. It's fucked. It holds charge. Even when fully powered off, it will only hold charge for about an hour. So it's
cool.
100% dead battery. It will only work when it's plugged in. If you don't have in-seat power on the plane, USB power isn't enough to actually keep it charged. So, yeah.
Did you look this up? Is this a thing that happens?
What, the batteries die?
Yeah.
All batteries die. It is pretty common. It's common across the entire breadth of all Li-ion batteries. That there is a small percentage of failure rate. So I don't. It's not completely out of unexpected. When did the fucking Switch release?
I don't know. 3-4 years ago? Was it?
No way. 2 years, max?
I'm looking it up.
I'm pretty sure it's lasted long enough that I'm not, gutted or whatever.
2017? What the fuck? Last year?
Last year, fucking hell. I'm not, I don't feel ripped off or whatever. I did look into it. Apparently, if you were to replace the battery, you send it into Nintendo to replace the battery, they just fucking swap it out for a new Switch, which I will not be doing because there's no way to hold on to your save games, and I'm not losing my fucking save games. So I'll probably just, if I'm going to lose my save games either way, I think I'm going to open up the back of the fucking Switch and see if I can replace the fucker myself.
I can't believe this was only released last year. My mind is blown.
I'm staggered. I thought it was 2 years old at least.
Yeah. Can you not get it replaced under warranty?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If I got it replaced under warranty, they'll just replace the entire machine, but I'll lose all my save games because there's no way to back up save games.
There's cloud saves, right? You can pay for it.
It's not for every game, and I'm not paying for fucking cloud saves. So I'll probably just have a punt at doing it myself.
And there's probably that other reason, right?
I don't want them to dick me around. I bought special new Joy-Cons and stuff, and I don't have the old Joy-Cons because they got broken. I don't know if they're going to replace those as well. There's a lot that's going on there. I don't really want to fuck about with that shit, so I'll just have a punt. If it breaks my Switch, it breaks my Switch, but I was going to lose the save games anyway, so fuck it.
Cool.
And I haven't opened up a machine in a while. There's something nice about opening stuff up and fucking about it.
Watching YouTube videos about how to open things up and then and then failing to do so when they're like, it's so easy.
It's so easy.
You just need this special screwdriver that nobody has.
Yeah.
in this particular size. Good luck.
Yeah, you can buy them for any good, reliable this store that doesn't exist anywhere outside of this tiny one place. Yeah, so that was a bummer. I was looking forward to. I've been playing a bit of Catherine on my Switch. Catherine.
Yep.
What's
that is a game.
But
That's that puzzle game with you're the guy. It's like an anime game.
fuck, it's not Catherine that I've been playing. Celeste,
Yep, that sounds better.
the Meat Boy one.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I've been playing a bit of that. Oh, it's pretty cool. I feel like the Switch isn't the perfect place for it, so I don't feel like, I don't know, the controls don't feel perfect. So there's some trigger stuff that goes on, and I don't really feel like the triggers on the Joy-Con, like, they're pretty small. It's a pretty small form factor.
Yeah. All right, so Overwatch. I watched some games as well.
Yeah, you were talking about it. We couldn't talk in real time because if I were to sit out in the crowd, I didn't have access to Wi-Fi, and if I were to sit at the Wi-Fi, then I might as well have watched it on my fucking, like, just watched it from home and shit, because we were watching on a delayed stream, so you could always, like, tell when something cool was happening if you were sitting in the press room, because the crowd outside would go wild, and then 30 seconds later it would happen on the stream that we were watching.
Well, that's easy for you, right? Because you could do other things and be like, oh, something's about to happen.
True, yeah, but couldn't get my Switch to charge, so... so most of the time I was sitting out in the crowd, and we were trying to work out what was going on. Yeah, it was good. It was good fun. So it was in Bangkok, which is in Thailand, in case you don't know. Your geography, that's okay. Geography's hard. And, it was the Bangkok qualifier. There was 4 qualifiers, and this was the third of them. 2 teams, the 6 that were playing, would qualify for the Overwatch World Cup finals at BlizzCon, and the teams that were competing were Thailand, obviously. Thailand got in because they were hosting the qualifiers.
Yep.
Otherwise, they would not have made it the qualifiers at all. Spain were in they were in a rough spot. They had drawn the ultimate group of death. It would have been better off in the fucking one with South Korea, because at least in that group, the only real worry was South Korea, and everyone else was just competing for the second spot.
Mm-hmm.
So Spain, they had no shot. Then there was Australia. I'm going in order of... Sorry, if we go from bottom to top, it goes Thailand, Spain, Australia, Denmark, Sweden, and then China.
Yeah. China's number one.
Yeah. China is number one. In terms of ranking, China actually is number one. Their skill rating is higher than South Korea's. And I was trying to explain this to the dudes, just because it's a modified ELO rating system. Population actually plays a pretty big role in it.
That's strange.
No, because of the way ELO works, population's always going to impact it, and so China will wind up with a naturally higher SR.
Oh, this is an ELO based on player ranking, not some other factor of they've just given them a number. Like
the
tournament
deciding
rankings.
Factor on whether or not, on where your country is ranked, is the skill rating of the top 150 players in your region, right? But because once you get to a critical mass of population, the top 150 players is the top 150 players in Australia is, let's say, 10% of the population. It's obviously, I'm changing the scale. But if it's only 0.1% in China, then the difference means that the skill rating just fucking cascades, just spirals upwards, very quickly. And so China's higher than South Korea, even though they're objectively worse at the game than South Korea. China was well and truly the most favoured to get through. Australia, it was pretty well known that Australia had drawn the group of death alongside Spain. Everyone was like, Australia's going to be lucky to get through. I was talking to all the Australian players, and they were saying they felt like it was going to be a fluke if they got through. This was prior to the games starting, and then the games began, and everything changed. Like, that group was insanely competitive. It was awesome. It was easily the best of the groups, so far, and there's little chance that there'll be another one like it. Spain were a write-off pretty much immediately, but Thailand drew so much fucking energy from their home crowd. They were playing out of fucking control. They got this one dude, Patafan, who's only 15, who is a fucking god. He is spectacular at the game. It is criminal that they have an 18 age limit on OWL, because that dude would be on a contract today if they didn't. Fucking right now. He played spectacularly. They do have an OWL player on Thailand, Mickey, who is an unbelievably nice dude, just really friendly, doing his best to talk English to me. Really, really nice guy. So they had a bit of leadership. They had a bit of OWL knowledge in the back area, driving them forward, stuff like that. It was pretty good. Then there was Denmark. Denmark have some amazing players like Shax, who was... if Patafan hadn't been there, Shax would have been the clear MVP of the game, of the entire thing. And they were playing really well. They were it was pretty much China's going to easily get through, and then it'll be between Denmark and Sweden for the second spot. Sweden didn't really show up except in the game against Denmark. And I think it was that they might be their players are all quite well known, but I think they might be over the hill, which is crazy to think that 1 year has passed and they're over the hill. But
they were ranked third in the world, right? So was that not kind of weird, or are they ranked third in the teams that weren't automatically invited?
What? Nobody was automatically invited.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought there were teams that were automatically invited. Never mind.
No, but that's the thing, right? They were they're really highly ranked, but they might be over the hill in terms of their players are past it. The ranking is based on old knowledge, and these are old dudes. They're not that old, obviously, but yeah, the growth of Overwatch as a competitive effort is such that they just don't have it anymore. China had this tank player Guksu. I don't know. I can't remember how to say his fucking name. He was awesome. He was really good. There were really good players on all of the teams. All the 5 teams that had a shot. And then Team Australia had a couple of really good players. Trill, a Kraken. I thought CKM had a pretty rough one, and Australia sort of lived and died on whether or not he was playing well, because he was sort of a critical DPS player. But nonetheless, he did play well enough. He had Custer in his pocket. Custer is an OWL player and an all-star. So it's we did have an all-star on our team, which is nice. It's most teams don't get to say that. But the real deciding factor, in my opinion, was the fact that we had Gunba, who was the assistant coach of the LA Valiant, and he brought Overwatch League coaching knowledge. None of the other teams had a coach of anywhere close to Gunbar's quality. And I genuinely think he's the reason why Australia made it through. So, spoiler alert, China and Australia managed to qualify for the World Cup finals. And yeah, I 100% think it was off the back of Gunbar's efforts. He insisted that they never play any of the defaults. They always had something up their sleeve.
Something different. Yeah.
And it just meant that they just, the other teams were constantly scrambling to put something together. I thought it was interesting, but it seemed like they deliberately didn't practice King of the Hill control maps at all. And so they got rinsed on all but one of them. They won a single control map all weekend, I think, if I recall correctly. And you always play a control map, so... Oh, no, they must have won two because they got 2 4-0s, yeah. But still, that was it. Those were the only fucking control maps they won at all. Yeah, they just, they basically banked on you only need to, you need to win 3 maps to go through. We'll give up the control map at the start and we will fuck them on the other 3 maps. And when they won the control map, they 4-0'd 2 teams, Thailand and Sweden. Sweden, was supposed to fuck Australia, and Australia went 4-0, which is crazy. Thailand went 3-2 with China. Sorry, 2-3 with China. They nearly beat China, and they lost them in the overtime tiebreaker match. It's insane how close it was. Thailand was supposed to just get fucked by everyone, and they managed to lift. It was awesome. They played so well. It was really cool. The Thai crowd was so enthusiastic. It was what I liked was sitting there when the Thai team wasn't playing. It was still pretty full. It was rammed when the Thai team was playing, but it was still pretty full when they weren't. And it seemed like they'd just cheer for whichever team was on the side that they were sitting. So if they were on the left side and Denmark was on the left, then they were fucking all about Team Denmark. And then the next game came up and Sweden was sitting there and they were all about Team Sweden. And they just sort of they just got into it. They got into the idea of cheering for good competition, really. And they did get the best fucking show possible. Even Custer, I did an interview with him and Gunbar, and Custer was saying, I don't watch the World Cup. I don't know anyone who does watch the World Cup, but you'd be crazy to not watch this qualifier. He meant the qualifiers. I don't watch the World Cup qualifiers, and I don't know anyone who does. But you'd be crazy to not watch this World Cup qualifier because it's not like all the others. Nobody, it seems like anyone could beat anyone in this group. And he was obviously being kind to Team Spain. But, Thailand genuinely came, millimeters from getting the win against China. They could have done it. They fucked up. But if they hadn't, they would have beat China. And if they had beat China, that group... Australia would have exited on top. Australia would have been the top team in the group if Thailand had beat China. Or if Australia had beat China, Australia would have been the top seed. If Sweden had gone 4-0 against Denmark, and China then went 4-0 against Australia in their final game, then Sweden would have been gone to the game. If Australia had gone 4-0 instead of China, then China would not have made it at all, and Sweden and Australia would have been going. If Denmark had won one more map, they tied a map. If they'd won that map against Thailand than they would have been going. Like, it literally came down to a difference of fucking a handful of single matches.
Like some rounds,
Yeah, like, that's just crazy. And it was, like, across 4 different teams that this difference occurred. Like, absolutely nuts. And super entertaining. I still have a problem with Overwatch in a couple of circumstances where I feel like it gets really difficult to work out what the fuck is going on. Like, there are situations where I just think maybe the spectating of the World Cup, at least, because it doesn't seem to happen in the Overwatch League. I think they just didn't have the resources, right? Like, I know that there were production issues, but because I could only ever hear the Thai broadcast live, I didn't really hear any of them. I could see on Twitter that people were complaining and stuff, but I couldn't see them. But I do know that spectating wasn't as good as it could have been. And that's definitely something that could have improved. There's like other stuff that bugged the fuck out of me, like you could only go to the toilet by exiting security, and then you'd have to go back through security again. And there was like pretty heavy duty security. So that was annoying as fuck. You couldn't bring food or drink into the space, which I thought was pretty dumb. I snuck some cheesecakes in at one point, but most of the time we had to get our PR handler to go through a different security thing so that they could bring, like, so we could have coffee and stuff in the morning without having to stand outside and drink our coffee while the games are going on and shit.
And that's how you spent 2 nights in jail. Is that what happened?
Smuggling cheese tarts. I smuggled them in my boogie board. No need to look here. It's just a boogie board that's not filled with cheesecakes.
I don't know how they go in there.
What? Those aren't my cheesecakes. That stuff was kind of weird. The fucking craziest thing was after the first day, I had to bring a fucking jacket, like a hoodie, with me to the event, because it was perpetually 18 degrees. They have the craziest fucking aircon, and it was you go outside and it's fucking 40 degrees and humid enough that you have to swim everywhere, and then you go inside and it's 18 degrees and it actually smells like a freezer, like a cool room. Like, it has that smell of a cool room. It's bananas. It's crazy. But, I don't know. It was just weird having to wear a jumper while I was fucking in the hottest country I've ever been to. But, that's about it. So the Overwatch was good. During the Sweden game, we worked out that if Sweden beat Denmark, then Australia would make it through. We were informed afterwards that it was not, like, they didn't work any of that shit out based on map differential. Like, technically Australia should have been through, but they had some other fucking stupid fucking method for working out all that bullshit. And so Australia needed to win one map, but we were like just losing our shit when when Sweden won. And we're sitting there on the Denmark side cheering for Sweden, cheering every time Sweden did anything. And so all the Thai people around us were going for Denmark, but like over the course of the match, they slowly started going for Sweden because we were so vocally going for Sweden. Yeah. It was pretty good. So it's like, oh yeah, fuck it, everyone's going for Sweden here. Well, the loudest dickheads are going for Sweden, so let's go for Sweden. Yeah, but also that China game was like, it started off quite rough because like you said, they needed to win that at least one map, and they were 2-0. Yeah, so they lost the control as they were always going to, and then they lost on Kings Row, and I was talking to Costa and Gumbo after, and they're like, "Yeah, we threw on that map, we fucked up." They wouldn't say what exactly they did to throw, but they are of the opinion that they should have 100% won on Kings Row because they had like a plan. If they'd won Kings Row, they would have won overall. They would have exited the group as the top seed. So 2-0, and we're like, oh fuck. This is going to be the worst way to fucking lose. I can't.
To China, like 4-0 against China.
Fuck, yeah. And then, no, don't worry about it.
All good.
We got through.
Yep. So, like, the thing for me is still the whole, like, it's the same 5 characters you see on every map. Like, the meta has...
6.
Yeah, same 6 you see. Like, the meta has changed from the last time I watched it. Like, there's a lot more Ana these days. But it seems like it's still the same, like, every map. It's the same thing pulled out all the time. And then they occasionally swap, like, I'm going to pull a Tracer out now because we've gotten past this point and we just need to push the payload. So we're going to have Tracer sit on the back line and try and pick off defenders or something like that.
Outside of Australia,
yeah,
every single team has used a composition. They're calling GOATs, which is 3 tank, 3 support comp.
Yeah,
with Reinhardt, Zarya, Diva, Brigitte, Moira, and Lucio.
Mm-hmm.
And you did see that quite a bit. You saw it more in other groups, but you did see it quite a bit. And I think the reason you didn't see it as much in the Bangkok one is because Australia refused. Gunbo was like, we are not playing GOATs. I think because it's like 3 tank, 3 support, and not a Kraken. Huss can't play not a DPS, I think, or he's much better as DPS.
Yep.
And so they'd just be basically crippling their team, forcing him to play off role to go for this GOATs shit. And because they weren't playing GOATs, the other teams found themselves in a lot of trouble trying to play GOATs against them. So yeah, I think that is the Australian team refusing to play it was one of the only reasons you didn't see it way more. And I'm so glad because it is the most boring style of play. They literally just cluster up and then
snowball. Yeah, snowball. Just tank it up. They survive for quite a long time, some of these heroes.
Oh, yeah.
It's like they're just... the attackers or, like, the other teams are just trying to pick off the supports to stop the healing, and then it's like the sort of bricks start to fall.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's basically what GOATs is designed around, is this idea of going, like, they go in and they just, like, stun lock nuke a support, and then they move on. It's just awful. It's just super boring to watch.
Yeah, it is.
What drove me nuts was the amount of times you saw someone walk away with a pixel of health, but the players are so focused on getting the support that they'll let Diva scoot away, and you're like, just fucking pin her once and she's done. Fuck. No.
Yeah. I saw Australia do some good plays because I was mainly watching the Australian games, and then I'd have it on in the background just sort of playing while I was doing other stuff for the other teams. But I saw Australia do one play where they, their Winston, the other team's Winston, powered up and went into their ultimate, and they basically just put him to sleep as on the bridge, and they just left him there. I thought that was a game or a point winning round because they managed to put him to sleep and then take the cap.
Yeah, it's because they blew 2 ultimates to make it happen. Australia had it happen to them once. It's probably one of my favorite highlights is Trill is playing as Winston, gets powered up, zooms primal rages and jumps in, and gets sleeps, and then Panafan like stands on top of him and uses high noon only on him and executes him while he's sleeping on the ground. Oh man, it's savage.
It's probably worth it though, right? For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Trill remembered it. Like it was a memorable moment for him because they literally expended a full fucking ult just to finish him. But yeah, it was a funny bit. Yeah, he saw a lot of like really clutch sleeps from it was a Kraken's Anna. Like he was insane with that shit. It was so good. I like 100% think that he was another like key part of Australia's success because his ability to pop asleep on something just at the right time handed Australia so much momentum so many times.
Yeah,
it was good. Bangkok was good. It was hot, and it was weird going from like we're staying in this really swanky part of town, like seriously swanky part of town, ludicrously swanky part of town. The mall that was held in, that was across the road from our hotel, had a Rolls-Royce dealership in it on the 3rd floor. I don't know how you get a car out. I don't know how you get your $2 million car out of the 3rd floor.
Generally like elevators and shit.
Right.
Like car elevators.
A McLaren dealer across the I don't know, concourse.
Yeah.
From the Rolls-Royce. And like, yeah, just super swanky. And you couldn't find a bar. I could not find a bar for the life of me, except for hotel bars. And if I'm relegated to drinking in a fucking hotel bar, then I might as well just drink in my hotel bar. So yeah, that was a bit of a bummer. Like finding decent bars. The food was good. Like had some awesome food. We went to some like markets, and I just sort of made sure we only ate at food stands with lines of people, like lines of locals.
Yep.
If you see a bunch of Thai people eating at one place and not the other, do not go to the other place because there's no because you get your food quicker. You go to one with a lot of people lining up at it, and yeah, had some like proper fucking top notch, authentic Thai. Drunken noodles was fucking amazing.
Yep.
It was with rice.
Okay.
Yeah, they were like the classic drunken noodle that I think you get here. You know, the spicy pork noodle dish that you get. It was served with rice, which was odd. It wasn't fried rice; it was just with rice. But it was delicious. It was fucking amazing. And had a pad thai, even though I believe pad thai is like a Western creation.
Okay.
Like Chinese, you know how Chinese food, like kung pao chicken and shit. This is not Chinese food. It's not stuff they eat in China.
Yeah.
But yeah, had a amazing pad thai anyway, and yeah, it was really good. Had a box of mixed meats. It was called. It was $3.
Cool.
It was a massive box of all sorts of barbecued meat. Couldn't really work out what it was. Pretty sure it was about 60% pork and 40% chicken, but I was a bit iffy on a couple of the foods in there. I ate it all though. It was delicious.
Cool.
I didn't get sick or anything. I know Team Australia got food sickness on the first day.
That's a bit crap.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of crap. But yeah, I didn't suffer the same fate, so I don't have a delicate sensibility. What else? Oh yeah, we went to the wrong airport. Went to the wrong airport on the way back from while we're heading out. There's 2 international airports in Bangkok. we went to one, and it was not the correct one. And I was falling asleep in the cab, and it took like fuck all time to get there. And we're like, wow, that was really quick. And we're driving up, and this is like old, rundown, fucking dilapidated airport. I'm like, this doesn't look like the same airport that we were at the first time. And the guys are like, oh, that's because we were at arrivals then, and now we're at departures, or whichever is correct.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't really ring true to me. This doesn't look right. And they're like, no, don't worry about it. We'll be fine. So we get out of the cab, and we go inside, and there's like no Qantas desk at all. We're wandering around, and we found a information desk. We're like, where is the Qantas check-in? I'm like, Qantas? Can you show me your booking? And I showed the lady my booking. She's like, oh yeah, you're at the wrong airport. So anyway, we got into a new cab, and our PI handler is like, oh yeah, and step on it. And he turns back in the car, and he's giving us a grin, yeah, classic. I got to say action movie shit. And our driver took that to heart. And I'm not shitting you. I'm fucking 100% serious. This dude was driving 160 kilometers an hour on the fucking highway, all over the place, swerving from the left side of this 4-lane highway to the right side and back again, weaving in and out of traffic. It was raining, and it was fucking terrifying. It was amusing for a little while, but at one point he literally slalomed between 4 cars so that he could get in front of them. It was bananas. There was a fucking ambulance with its lights on, and he caught up to the ambulance.
Yep.
Fucking hell, man. I 100% thought we were going to die. 100%.
Never again tell him to step on it.
Never saying that again. In Australia, if you were like, oh yeah, and step on it, he'd be like, yeah, mate, don't worry about it. And he'd do 82 instead of 80. This dude was doing literally double the speed limit. And in Australia, the dude, if you're oh, and step on it, he might not stop for a red light when the light has turned orange. You know how they always they're like, oh yeah, I better stop this yellow light just to squeeze a couple of extra cents out of you, even though they would be far better off getting you to your destination as soon as possible, and getting a new fare as quickly as possible, because that is the most efficient way. It's the extra, the booking fee makes it more efficient for them to actually book more people and to wheedle out at a couple of extra cents tickets. Yeah, it was terrifying. Slept on my way home. Everything was all good. That's about it.
Yeah, then we did Predator Day.
And then we did Predator Day, and it was good. It was awesome.
Yeah.
We watched Predator, Predator 2, Predators, and then we were supposed to go see The Predator, but we saw it in the cinemas, and I didn't like it. So we didn't go see it again. I didn't want to pay more. I didn't want to pay money to go see it a second time. Yeah. So
we watched Alien versus Predator because that's a good replacement.
Yeah.
And then Alien versus Predator Requiem.
Yes.
Because why not go down that hole if we're already halfway in?
Why not?
Just get the whole way.
Requiem was better than Alien versus Predator.
Yeah.
But not by much. I know I use this comparison a lot, but it was sort of like comparing getting kicked in the nuts with getting stomped on the nuts. I prefer neither, to be honest. If I have to pick, Kick. Let's go with the kick.
All right.
Yeah.
Should we talk about some games I've been playing? All right, so Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider, yeah.
Yeah, that came out last week. I've played about 10 to 12 hours of it. It's pretty average. I was a bit of a fan of the first one. And so I've talked about this before. I was pretty surprised when people were like, hey, this new one, Rise of the Tomb Raider, is pretty good. And I don't know if that was because it was a console exclusive the first time. Well, no, it was the second time around, was it? I don't fucking remember. One of them was a console exclusive. And I was just like, I don't know if people just didn't play the first one. And I felt like it was good. There was not a lot of tomb raiding. There was some in there, but not a whole lot. But you could kind of see the foundation that was there. And the second one was like, all right, well, let's use that foundation and we'll put some more tomb raiding in there. But otherwise, it's going to be pretty similar. And I felt like, yeah, it was good, but it was like I feel like people maybe missed it the first time and they just didn't get around to it because it got some pretty good scores. And I didn't think the second one was like bad. I just thought it was like, yeah, the last one was good as well. Like, I get what people are going on about. And anyway, so this one is out and I was excited for it. And it's just pretty much more of the same. They haven't really done a whole lot to sort of change up that formula. Apart from the thing that I saw during the preview, which was now you can put mud on her face and then hide in some bushes against the wall. And that's kind of like the stealthy tactic that they've like an extra layer on there. It's just like something other than hiding in a bush. It's now you can hide in a wall and use your stealth attacks. So yeah, that's really all they've added. The same formulas there. It's a very like you're in this hub world. You can fast travel between different camps. There are a lot more raiding of tombs. There's a stack of puzzles, like lots and lots of puzzles. I feel like the combat is being toned way down, and it's more puzzle based stuff this time around. Right. And there's still a lot of hunting in there. The things I don't like are they always go for this like these jump scare things, and it's just cheap. Like it's here is a part where we're going to have you climb through a really narrow something, and it's because we're hiding the loading, but we're going to have a jump scare here where something comes at you, whether it be like a fucking dead body falling or a wolf or something like that. I think that stuff is just lazy. And the other things I really do not like about this game is that you are constantly pressing like the survival, like the sensibility where she can see the things that she can interact with in the environment. You're constantly just fucking mashing it. And there's no point to be out of that mode because you're collecting so many things in the world. And like, that's how you can see what you can interact with. So you're just mashing it the entire time. It's just fucking boring. And I don't know what, how you go about not having that in there, because there's a lot of stuff that's so reliant on it, like crafting all your like weapon upgrades or crafting suits, leveling up your character so you can get more skills. Like to be able to, like, you've got to basically find all this stuff to be able to progress your character in the game. And so you're constantly looking after this stuff, and the easiest way to find it all is just to mash that button. So you spend like a majority of the time just in that mode where like everything is gray, or everything like the vision blurs, and then everything you can interact with is highlighted. It's just like it's a bad mechanic that needs to be changed. That's probably my biggest problem with it. Is it's just like you become so reliant on that mode. It's just you're in it most of the time. So anyway, but otherwise it's just like, yeah, like it's not a bad game, but it's not blowing me away in terms of, because I played Uncharted 4 recently, and that I really liked. Like they just do a better job of telling stories, doing action set piece moments. The shooting is not great in that game, but like they just do a better job overall of the same sort of character. Like it's a similar like rip on Indiana Jones. I just think it's done better in that game. Like for, you know, if I want to play an action, like a big bombastic action game, seems to have taken more of a puzzle route. Because there is like not a lot of combat at all that I've played.
Like other, because I guess the first one had I felt pretty lame puzzles.
They're a bit
just them. Yeah,
they're a bit like they do really big ones this time around. Like you'll basically walk into an entire room and it's like there's a giant fucking puzzle in the middle. Figure this out, and it's usually like to progress you to the next area.
Yeah.
But it's the same stuff of like, hey, climb up this thing that is like painted white, so you know you can climb up on it. And then do this thing 3 times, and it'll let you get to the next part. It's nothing too crazy. Like there was one puzzle I did where you go backwards in time to when Lawrie is. I wouldn't say she's a teenager. She's probably, maybe she is, maybe like 12, something like that, 12, 13. Quite young. And you're roaming around her house where for whatever reason her parents are not around, and they should be fined for the shit she gets up to while she's around this house, because she's like fucking climbing on rooftops, like scaling, like plumbing on the side of the house, and just like she's lucky she's alive, basically. During some of these things, like jumping in crazy places, a kid should not be jumping. And there's a puzzle moment in there where it's like, all right, you've got to move these sort of chess pieces, and there are sort of hints on the wall as to where you should move them. So that sort of stuff is like a bit more using your brain to try and figure out where you should be moving these things. But otherwise, it's just been a lot of like attaching your bow and arrow rope to this other part of the other, like this other bit of wood, and then pulling on it, and that triggers the next part of the puzzle. Like, it's just been a bunch of that so far. So, yeah, like it's been getting a lot of mixed reviews, it seems like, and I feel like it's justified. Like I think it's pretty, like it's okay. It's like a 6 or 7. I feel like it's not like a 9 or a 10. I don't know if it's been getting 10s, but yeah, I think it's quite average, at least. Because the story's not doing anything for me either. It's just, I am skipping a lot of it at this stage now. I'm just like, I can't be fucked. Yeah, like the last one, and even the first one, I remember reading like all the stuff in the game, because there are a lot of collectibles in there you can pick up and kind of go through. And there's also like diaries you'll pick up, and there'll be stories about like other characters in this world that have been around, and like hearing about their adventures. And this time I just cannot give a fuck at all. Because it just seems really boring and lame. So, yeah. It's average, super average.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's what you want.
Yeah, exactly. Battlefield 5 is on here.
Hang on.
Sure.
Hang on.
Go on.
I watched the Tomb Raider film on the plane.
Well, yeah, okay. Because why?
I hadn't seen it, and I was hoping it would put me to sleep.
Did it just make you angry?
It's just generally bad.
Yeah.
I couldn't look away. It had fucking McNulty from The Wire in it. He was pretty bad. It had fucking Walton Goggins in it. Like, it had some good actors, you know. Walton Goggins was in Predators.
Yeah.
Looking super young in Predators. He did not look young here. He was pretty good. He was just like evil for no reason. I think that was the problem. None of it really made sense. It just seemed like they wanted to mimic the game reboot. But, like, yeah, I guess they did raid a tomb, so that is good. But yeah, it was just generally pretty dumb. At one point, she's standing, like, she has to solve a puzzle. She works it out that if she combines 2 colors, she can do it. So she's got yellow, and then she puts blue in. And as she slams the blue in, she yells, "Green!" green, and it might be like the dumbest fucking moment. I can't believe it's not a meme, because a woman hanging off a wall and yelling green while slamming something into a wall is just such a comically idiotic moment in cinema history, and they were just all about it. Why did she have to say green? So weird.
Maybe it was voice activated.
Oh, maybe I hadn't thought about it.
Yeah, one of those fancy terms, ancient terms.
Right at the end, they do like a like cool stinger, a bit of a stinger,
like a nod.
A nod.
Yeah.
Where she buys guns. I don't know how there's a. Like, I'm pretty sure she's in England, right? And
is she buying them off like Simon Pegg or something? Am I remembering?
No,
it's Nick Frost.
Yeah, it's Nick Frost.
Yeah,
yeah, and like he's a like what are they called? Oh no, what are those places where you sell unwanted stuff?
He's like a dodgy, like a auction. Fuck. Like cash converters.
Yeah. What do they call them? Fuck.
I don't know what
cash. Anyway, what are they called? It's where you come in and listen to the guy.
Like a loan shop, a shark loan, or what do you call them?
No. Pawn shop.
Pawn shop? Yeah, that'll do.
Pawn shop. That's it. Yeah, it's like he's a British pawn shop. But they're selling guns? I thought, like... I'm pretty sure, like even the cops don't have guns in England. I don't know how the fuck a pawn shop's selling them. Anyway, she gets one of the guns. She gets a 9mm gun. She grabs it, and then she's like, "I'll take two," and then poses and like fucking just vamps for the camera in like the fucking most like just blatant bullshit fucking moment in the entire film. But they framed it so neither gun is actually on screen. So it's just her fucking doing a W with her fucking arms, like holding two guns off screen. What the fuck is going on there? The framing of the entire movie is just terrible. I don't understand how they like. Oh man, it was bad. Anyway.
Cool. Fair enough. Yeah, still yet to have a good video. Yeah. Do we, I don't know, I left this on here, but do we play more?
I'm pretty sure it had finished by the time we did the podcast last week, so...
Yeah.
No.
So let's get rid of that.
Gonzo.
Call of Duty. Oh, boy.
Call of Duty.
Played a lot of that.
I can't wait to hear what you think of it, because obviously I was pretty positive. Pretty positive last week, but I'd only played it on PlayStation, and I didn't have a really good idea. I didn't have the best grasp on it at that time. I was just like, I want to play more, and I am not going to get to, which sucks. But anyway, yeah, you played a bunch. Let's hear it.
Yeah, we played a bunch on PC. The PC beta kicked off. I think it was like early access to the beta, whether or not you got a key from somewhere or like pre-ordered it, and then the day afterwards was like an open beta, so it was like a free-for-all. Yeah, man, it's fucking awesome. It's really good. It is probably going to be my replacement for PUBG. It's got that Call of Duty feel about it. It is fast-paced. But they've also added in like a lot of maneuverability in there. They've got like a ton of different gadgets. They've got some really cool environments in there, like classic callback Call of Duty areas that you can kind of remember. They've got some really good like gameplay mechanics in there, surprisingly. Like I just felt like they were going to do their version of it and sort of copy some of the other, or I guess PUBG is a big one, right? And just copy that, and they have copied it, but they've put their own spin on it and like brought the Call of Duty-ness to it, to like Battle Royale, and it works really well. They're like the way, so you basically start this map and you drop out from a plane, and you're in a wingsuit when you drop out, and from there you can pretty much get to anywhere on the map. It's a little bit smaller than PUBG, but it's still huge. Like the place is enormous. They're quicker games. They're not like 35-minute games. They feel like they're shorter than that at least. That's what I thought as well. Like 20-ish minutes. Yeah, because it seemed like by the second circle you were getting down to like the low, like 20 people alive type thing. And, so yeah, it's from like the get-go in that game, you drop out of this wingsuit, and it took us maybe a day or two to actually figure out how to use the wingsuit properly. And I think we've got it nailed down now. And because we were using like PUBG mentality of being like, all right, if you want a long float, you sort of line it up in the correct angle and then like float across. And it's like, no, you like, if you want to go somewhere, you basically instantly drop, point down, and just fucking gun it to the floor. And then like level out, and that gets you like a huge speed boost.
Okay.
Yeah, so like on the right hand side, you've got this indicator of your level on the environment and when your parachute will sort of deploy. And so you've got this wingsuit and you've got your speed as well on there. And so you go flat to the ground, you hit, there are like 3 indicators of how quick you're going, like little triangles. And when you hit like the second triangle, you level out and you should get to your max speed by then. And then you'll be going like a fucking flying fox in the air, but you'll be going at like a really high speed, and that will get you really far across the map, because rather than going like lying down and going, I don't know, 40 kilometers an hour or whatever it is, you're now going like 66 or 70.
Right.
And that gets you there that gets you to wherever you're going first. So that took us like a day or two to get used to that part. And just like that alone just shows you how much they've thought about that sort of thing, and just not like, oh, we'll just fucking chuck parachutes in there and we'll see how we go. Like from that moment on, you can tell it's a completely different game, and like the speed or the pace they're going for, because just of something as simple as that. And then so you land, and there is gear all over the place. I was kind of worried about how the inventory management would work, because it is, at least on the consoles, that would not work on PC, and it is different on PC, which is good.
I saw some screenshots, but I still don't understand how it works.
Yeah, so basically you start off with some slots in your backpack or your inventory. You pick up things in the environment, so weapons, gadgets, items, that sort of thing, and they take up those slots in that inventory. And things like ammo is like its own separate area. And so then when you fill that up, you get a backpack, and then you can like sort of double the amount of space you can have. It's very basic. It's not like your PUBG management where you're trying to figure out, all right, well, now I've got to manage my weight and how much stuff I've got. And if I remove like 30 bullets, I can pick up an extra, like a flash grenade. There's like none of that in there. So each thing takes up sort of like one item slot. And then when you go and pick stuff up off the ground, it's the same sort of thing. Like it'll show you your inventory screen, and everything they've got is on the top of the screen, and then everything you've got is on the bottom. So you just click on the stuff you want to pick up, and anything you want to drop on yours, you just click on it and drop it. Or I think it's right click and it drops it. So it's pretty quick. I got it down pat, pretty within a day or two. It's the things they need to work on is sort of like you're switching between weapon attachments and getting an idea for what attaches to what guns, because sometimes you'd click on something and it's like it just wouldn't work, and not really like, oh, this is maybe a extended mag for a SMG. Like some of those small details weren't in there, and kind of getting an idea for like, all right, well, what exactly does this gun do? Like, is it a semi-automatic, or is it like is it a fully automatic gun? Like, is this actually a shotgun? Sometimes like, oh shit, I'm using a shotgun. There's not like a lot of detail in terms of damage, fire rate, that sort of stuff that's in the game yet. So that was a little bit frustrating to sort of be like start a fight and be like, well, fuck, I've got a burst gun, and then not realize you've got a burst gun. So there was a lot of points where I would pick up a gun and like shoot at a wall to figure out what the fuck I was using. So yeah, there's some more stuff on there they need to put on, like in terms of a bit more UI stuff. But otherwise, the PC inventory is, I think it's fine. Like, it's super basic. It works well for what it needs to do. It's not overly complicated like PUBG, where you got to try and figure out like, oh, how many fucking bullets do I need to drop to be able to pick up this next thing, or like, why am I like, oh, I can't drop this extended mag from my gun because I don't have enough room in my backpack. Like, and this doesn't have any of that stuff in there. It's easy to strip weapons. Like, you just basically press, I think it's like G on the gun, and it'll drop all the weapons, like all the attachments on the ground. You can pick them up really easily. You can hold F to pick up everything like on the ground. You don't have to just click it. You can just hold it and it'll pick it all up. There's like some really smart like gameplay ideas that they've put in there.
Yeah.
The shooting feels pretty decent. Like, there is bullet drop on there. It seems like there are a lot of good. Like, you will need like a sniper rifle for some of those games. Sniper rifles seem pretty OP at the moment, particularly because of the way armor works. And that is probably the biggest problem the game has, I would say, is that armor is a bit busted. There are 3 types of armor. There's level 1, 2, and 3. And each level sort of increases the amount of damage resistance that you can get, or damage reduction. And yeah, it's not like, there's something about it in terms of, you're basically shredding armor away from somebody. So once you take away all their armor, you hear like you'll hear a noise, and also the indicator on your screen will change. So it's not like PUBG where you shoot somebody and you don't really know if you've hit them unless you've seen the blood. This one is like classic old school Call of Duty or classic Quake, where you hit someone, you can hear it, and you'll see it on the screen. You get those damage markers. And then so when you shred the armor away, you'll hear the noise, and then you'll see the armor icon disappear. And that's when you'll start really taking some hits to that person. Now, the problem here is, you've got an issue with like the risk reward factor, because once you actually kill somebody, you've now engaged with somebody in the game, and you're taking damage, they're taking damage. You kill that person, and all of a sudden you're like, you're in a position in the game where you're not as good as everybody else, because you're not getting armor off that person anymore. Like in PUBG, you could kill somebody, go and loot their body, and oh fuck, this person has like level 3 armor, I can now take that, and all of a sudden, like, I'm in a better position than what I was. Like, that does not happen in this game, because you're shredding that person's armor, you've got no armor now, and you're fucked. Like, and because the time to kill is so long when they've got that armor, it's a big problem, and I think they need to address that, because that's going to be huge. You know what I'm talking about, right? I'm making sense?
Yeah, the return on investment for actually getting into a firefight isn't there unless you can fully ambush someone without taking any damage, because you can't replace it. Like,
it's gone.
It's utterly destroyed before you can get the
which
they have already changed that. I think
it wasn't in there when we were playing.
No, they said that in the post that they put up after the beta, they were saying that they're making some changes to the way the armor works, and that you will take damage while also armor mitigates the damage. So I think something closer to how Quake 3 does it.
Yeah,
where like it might block 2/3 damage instead of whatever the fuck, like the full, and so you should be able to kill someone before level 3 armor is fully destroyed or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, because the problem is like you finish that fight.
Single piece of armor, right?
Yeah,
and it's not like PUBG. You can damage a single piece, and you can still walk away with a great chest piece,
or like a helmet or something like that.
Yeah, one or the other. Yeah.
Yeah, because here what was happening was you'd lose or you'd win a fight, and then you've got no armor, and so the next fight you're kind of fucked.
Yeah, you're at a severe disadvantage.
Yeah, and it's not encouraging people to fight at that stage, because all you're getting out of them is armor or ammo or whatever gear they've got. And if you're geared up, then it's like, why am I fighting for? Like, what's the point? So that was the biggest problem that I feel like the game had at that stage. So if they're going to change it, that's good, because that needs to be addressed for sure.
Something you and Nate were talking about last night was percentage of hot drops.
Oh, yeah. So there's like a bunch of stats in the game that you can actually look at. It's like how many wins you've got, or how many kills, your accuracy, that sort of thing. And they're tracking hot drop percentage or hot drop kill percentage as well. So I'm not sure how they're working that out. I guess that's
kills in the first minute or something.
Yeah, something like that. Which is interesting. An interesting way of like more stats to, I don't know. Yeah, it's cool. But it's like one of those things where there aren't like a lot of named locations on the map, and generally, unless you're going to somebody or somewhere that is like a couple of houses on the map or something like that, then you're going to be with usually another team or a couple of people. So yeah, it's fun like that. Yeah, I mean, the shooting feels good. There's like bullet drop and that sort of stuff. As I said, it seems like sniper rifles, for endgame at least, is pretty important, because trying to shoot some of those weapons on distance can be a bit flaky. But I guess that's just like a thing of getting used to some of those guns. There are rocket launchers, and they're pretty good. They're funny. They're basically used for. I've seen them used for close combat, and that's an interesting way of doing it. But they're mainly there for things like vehicles. So there are like ATVs or trucks. There are helicopters in the game, which may sound overpowered, but they can go down quite quickly, which is good.
It's like one rocket to kill one. So
yeah. So that's good. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. There are gadgets in the game. You put like razor wire down on the floor, which kind of stops people from getting to certain areas. Areas like grappling hooks that you can use to traverse really quickly into certain places.
Love the grappling hook.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's got like a couple of uses in there. There are like trip mines, so you can set up like these mines on a surface, and then you connect them to another mine, and if someone walks in front of that, it'll trigger them. You can do that in terms of like just connecting two together. You can connect 3, 4, 5, I don't like as many as I guess you've got. Seems like you can join them all in one location. So like Nate and I had set up in an aircraft hangar, and there wasn't many people left, maybe like 10, and we could hear people outside our door. And so I set up some mines on the door next to us, and they either needed to come through that door or through the hangar front door, and there was no reason for them to come through that way because we were on the edge of the circle, so they needed to come in through where we were. And we were kind of watching behind us and also the aircraft door. That way, if the explosion went off, we knew they were coming through that door anyway. And they did. They ended up coming through, opening that door and just blowing themselves up and like scaring shit out of them. So we took out those guys. And yeah, just like setting up traps is cool. Is a cool idea. There are smoke grenades, cluster grenades, flashbangs, or concussion grenades. I think they're the same thing. I'm not sure. Yeah, there's like a huge variety of weapons in there. I had a lot of fun playing. And I guess the big thing is like, and we've talked about it a lot, like the PUBG in Australia is fucked. It's dead. I jumped in the night it launched. I think it was 3 o'clock in the morning or 3:30. I was playing with Cham Chong, and we were getting games up until like I went to bed at 5:30, and we were not having any issues at all playing at that time. And this is, I think it was 80 people in a match that were playing. And every time that I tried to jump into a game the entire weekend, it was pretty much instant pops. Like, we'd jump in. It may not, like, I maybe have to wait a minute for the server to fill up, because you jump in and there was like 30, 20 people in the match, but it'd fill up pretty quickly. And so, like, the entire weekend, I had no issues at all playing the game, which was good. And they're quick rounds. I think they're like 25 minutes, maybe 20 minutes a pop. And so, yeah, we got a bunch of wins. That first night we were playing, we ended up with a couple wins, which is good. I played some solo matches. They had solos at one stage. They had duos in there. They were throwing in like different event modes. Like, all right, we're going to do this mode here, and it's all like SMGs or these types of weapons. They were doing that sort of stuff. They had like another type of event in the game at one stage, which I didn't get a chance to check out. Like they were doing something within the game, which was cool, like a really cool idea. They
I don't know what it was.
No, I can't remember off the top of my head what it was. I think I had something on that day, and so I didn't get a chance to check it out. But they've got like the zombie horde in the game as well, where like they'll spawn chests, and those chests will have higher ranked gear. So that sometimes you'll come across a weapon, and it's like it'll be yellow or gold, and that it's like got stuff on it already, like it's kitted out with the stock silencer, extended magazine, like it's ready to go. And I think that's kind of what they'll have in those crates, I'm guessing, right. Or maybe like higher tier weapons like your rocket launchers or your grenade launchers. I think we found a grenade launcher in one of them. So that's a really cool idea of like, all right, do I want to go for this crate? There's going to be zombies I'm fighting, and then possibly alert people that are around me that I'm here, and maybe they'll come and try and steal it. So, yeah, that's a cool idea. But like otherwise, man, yeah, I am so fucking excited to play this when it comes out. Like I am back in on Call of Duty multiplayer because they've done it so well. And that was the thing, right? Is what's going to happen when a AAA developer gets a hand of it and tries their own take on Battle Royale. And we've seen Epic like knock it out of the park with Fortnite, and now something a bit more hardcore, like Call of Duty, the Call of Duty brand, taking it on, and yeah, they're killing it. They're smashing it. I think it's going to be huge.
Fuck yeah. I'm pumped. I'm gutted that I missed out on it. I thought they extended it by a day. They extended by 24 hours or something. I thought that would mean that I'd actually get a shot of playing it, but no, I still did not.
And it was like a proper beta, right? They were testing stuff. They were like you said, they're like taking feedback on extremely well. Like that first day the beta went up, and the second day, like there were changes rolling out from there on. Like they ended up implementing a kill cam at one stage, like that wasn't in the game to start off with. So they were like rolling out features to see how the network would hold. They upped the player count at one stage to 88, which is what they did on Xbox, or the consoles at least. The last 2 hours of the beta, they upped it to 100, which I guess they're going for that Fortnite PUBG number. So they've got data on that. Yeah, they were making some changes as the game was going, and like listening to what people were saying. So I've got a lot of confidence in Treyarch to really smash this like really well. Like I feel like it's going to eat a chunk out of the other battle royale games that are out.
Yeah. Sweet. I saw that Baz chucked a link to, who's that German dude? Battle Nonsense.
Okay, yeah.
He's done his comparison video, and it's worse than PUBG and Fortnite, but it can obviously get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also a beta. We don't know if they're running things. Yeah, like what they're doing. Did he try doing the 100-person period, or yeah? It's hard to say. Like, I think it's too early to look at those numbers. I think we have to wait.
Yeah, well, like, I mean, I understand why he did it, but yeah, like,
and it didn't feel like, for me, it didn't feel like, oh man, like the amount of times in fucking PUBG, or even I see it a lot in Battlefield where I feel like I'm getting killed behind a wall. I never had any of that problem in Call of Duty, and I guess it's because the time to kill is so long as well. Whereas if I've been killed behind a wall, it's because I've taken so much damage outside of the wall anyway. So yeah, I think for me the biggest, the sound is a bit shit at the moment. They need to address that. The armor,
that's another one of the things that they talked about fixing up.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad. It's just sometimes it can be a bit difficult to get an idea of if someone's above you or below you. But by the end of the weekend, I had a pretty good idea of sort of how sound was working, but it needs to be tweaked quite a lot. But yeah, like sound, armor is the two big ones.
JB posted in our Discord the link to the thing. So yeah, they talked about armor, audio adjustments, inventory and item management is something they're going to continue to address. Console players asked for an option in the settings to to speed up, to instantly pick up items, but they have like sped up the rate at which you generally pick up items. They just want to balance it so you don't actually accidentally pick something up while you're trying to reload or something. I think that's console only.
Yeah, because what happens at the moment, if you pick up, say, like an extended mag from the ground, it will auto-equip to the gun you've got.
Yeah.
Or scopes or that sort of thing. So maybe that's what they're talking about.
Right. Xbox One performance, they're improving that as well. They got some stats from the beta. I'll read them out. Players eradicated 7.5 million zombies over the course of the beta. Squad mates were revived 26 million times. 3.3 billion items were picked up. Over 64 million stashes were spawned. Longest combat axe kill distance was 213 meters.
Yeah, cool.
That's insane. And players managed to eliminate 123 people with a basketball.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
You take damage on the basketball. I think it's something low, but that's impressive.
Most kills by an individual player in solos was 25, in duos 29, in quads 25. Most kills by a team in duos 32 and quads 38. Not bad. That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the huge difference is the game is so much quicker than your PUBG. It's because it's like you can heal on the move. The time to heal is quite short. You can pop off like a 25 heal in a matter of 2 or 3 seconds. You can revive players in 2 or 3 seconds. Like the pace of it is super quick, but it's still got that PUBG feel about it of like getting into really good heals or like good positions. If you want, you can go prone in grass and play that way. I think it's going to be big. I think it's like I've been reading a lot of the stuff on the PUBG Reddit. There were a lot of negative feedback on there, obviously. They don't think it's going to eat a chunk out of their game, and I think they're going to be wrong. I think it's going to, no matter which way you look at it, like people are going to switch to this game. I don't think it's going to be the other way around. Like, it's just that doesn't make any sense, right?
No, absolutely not. I mean, yeah. Like, it's insane to think that it's not going to impact PUBG at all. Like, everything's impacting PUBG. People are crying out. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if PUBG can still expect to see people coming back, like switching between the two. Yeah. But the idea that it will like have no impact is just insane. Yeah. It's super naive.
And the same thing with whatever EA is doing with Battlefield 5. I think that the same thing will happen. Call of Duty and PUBG will also get a chunk taken out of their player base because people will switch. Yeah, that's just the way things work. I mean, PUBG is still going to be very popular, but like they're not as popular as what they were at the start of this year. They've dropped like half their numbers already. And I think as the game continues, if something's not done about a lot of the bugs that's in that game, like you're talking about a year, like year and a half on, and just basic shit like you can't hot drop in PUBG because like weapons don't spawn, like shit like that, and that's like not a problem in Call of Duty. It's just not existent, and like just basic stuff like that has just been not being looked at or fixed. And this matchmaking problem that's 5 months on still not fixed. It's like that is the sort of problem, like the things that are killing that community, and not addressing them is it's bleeding players.
Going to address the matchmaking thing sometime soon or something?
Yeah, it should be going into the test server this week, like a new form of matchmaking. But I've looked into what they're doing is they're putting map selection back in terms of you'll be able to individually pick what map you want to play. Right. So if at the moment it's like mini royale or normal royale, and normal is like Erangel and Miramar, and the mini is Sanhok, and what they're doing, they're splitting that up even further, so you'll be able to choose your map individually. Which is, I think, is still fucked. Personally, I've been pretty vocal against it. I don't think you should be able to choose your map. Fuck it. You should just pick fucking play and play. So now they're splitting it into 4 queues, it looks like. Sorry, no, it'll be 3 queues, but there's a quick play, and the wording on that was it'll put you into the game with the lowest queue. So it's always going to be the most popular map, from what I can understand. I don't know. I just don't think it's going to fix it. Whatever they're doing.
Right. Cool.
I do not have confidence in them because of the other way they've handled some of the other things. So, yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I'm interested to see if some of the pro teams switch to Call of Duty anyway, because I saw a lot of pro players playing, a lot of PUBG players in Australia at least playing Call of Duty and enjoying it quite a lot.
I was living vicariously through fucking highlights on Twitter. I saw Critical Motion for the Chiefs player.
Yep.
Having a lot of fun with it. He got some fucking stellar shit. I think he got a fucking, like, 2-banger. Like, 2 kills, 1 shot.
Yeah, I saw that one.
That's fucking awesome. That's so good. You'd be so upset. Actually, he had a really good one in the Throwdown comp. Did you see that one? He had like a fucking plinked another player while they were driving away at like easily 400 to 500 meters.
Right.
It was fucking amazing. It was really good. Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, awesome stuff. I'm very excited for when it comes out. I very nearly jumped on a Call of Duty trip, but I have timing conflicts. I've got other shit on at the same time, which is shit-tastic. Otherwise, I'd totally be there.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Red Dead Redemption 2. Oh, boy. This is going to make you jealous because you haven't seen it yet, but you'll be going after this.
Yeah.
I had a chance to check out 2 hours of the game a little while back, and so now we can talk about it. I think this is going to be Game of the Year. I guess there's God of War is the big one that is...
that's the one that I'm thinking, yeah.
That's really going to give it some competition. But they are 2 very different games. Like, God of War did the thing of taking, like, an action game and sort of putting it in this open world, but not really an open world. Like, it sort of misdirects you a little bit in some cases. But this Red Dead Redemption 2, it's insane. Like, it is like they've built it from basically the ground up on next-gen consoles, but they've got so many systems in place of, like, it's doing that thing that, like, Zelda did, where, like, here's a bunch of systems, we're going to put them in the game and let you play with them and see what happens. My problem with Zelda was, though, is that the story was not very good, and it was like just a bunch of puzzles and mini games sort of things, and it was the systems that were really good. Like, oh, I just did this cool thing, but it was some of the stuff around it was like, not that great. This is sort of taking that idea of putting a bunch of systems in there, but also doing like the Rockstar thing of, we're going to tell an awesome story. We're going to have some great like gun combat and awesome world building and like all the things you kind of expect from a Rockstar game, but like have these little intricate systems that sort of mesh with each other. And I think that's what's really going to set it apart from some of the other games this year, because, oh my God, it blew my mind playing this game. So,
yeah, really.
Yeah, just like the things you do in the world, like just the random stuff that you can kind of encounter. There was a lot of that in sort of Red Dead, where you'd be wandering around and come up against like a stranger or something like that. And that's not really like systems that are in there. I'm talking about like walking along a road and starting a fight with 2 other people that are on a horse, murdering them, hiding their bodies off the road so that nobody finds them, like if somebody else came along, and they're like, what the fuck are you doing? Which is something that happened in my game. And then going into a town and people being like, hey, why is there blood on your shirt? Like that type of thing. And then getting a bit Like, oh, this guy seems a bit dodgy. Like, why has he got blood in his shirt? Why has he got bullet holes all over him? Like that sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah, just all these really tight systems that are affecting the world and how sort of people perceive you. Anyway, so it's basically it's like a prequel, right? It's based off of the first game was Red Dead Redemption was John Marston, and sort of him trying to get out of his old gang and that sort of thing. This one, instead, you're playing as Arthur Morgan, and he is like in the midst of this gang, who John was also a part of at the time. And it's sort of like the height of the era where all the sheriffs and all the police are trying to get rid of, like, they're sort of whittling down all these rogue gang members. And, and they're trying, like, his gang is sort of like one of the last remaining that are going around, and they're really struggling to sort of keep like their head above water and go about sort of still doing what they're doing. So, yeah, it's basically about you trying to survive and going out and doing these different tasks in the world. So what I saw to kick things off was, and I think it was in the first trailer that they dropped, you were doing a train robbery. And so the game opens up and they're showing us, and it's in 4K. This is like the first 4K build they've shown, and it looks fucking outstanding. Like, it's gorgeous. Like, the environment's extremely detailed. Everything looks like it's got this style about it, like this cinematic style that they're showing off that looks amazing. And anyway, so they're showing this storytelling, like these people talking to each other and whatnot. And he's like, oh, yeah, this isn't actually a cutscene. This is just like, this is a button you can press and it takes you into like this cinematic experience. And GTA had something, and some of their other games have done something similar. Like you press the camera view and you can sort of drive around, and it shows you like different camera angles and whatnot. They've done that, but it looks, it's something about it that they've really paid attention to the way cameras work and sort of like what you see that in cinema, and put it into this game. And it looked like a cinematic thing that I was watching. Just the way the camera was moving and like the different angles and whatnot. And it's like, no, that's just something you can trigger and it'll happen in the game. And it looks sick. So anyway, we start off and you're kind of getting an idea for what's going down for this this train robbery. And obviously things don't go to plan. You're trying to like derail the train, and for whatever reason the dynamite doesn't go off. And then it's like, well, shit, we've got to try and get on this train. So then you end up basically jumping on top of it and working your way through the carriages and trying to basically stop this train so that you can steal all the stuff that's in it that you want. You're looking for some bonds. And so that's the kind of the first instance where they showed off some of the Deadeye returns, which is where you trigger this ability, time sort of slows down, and you can quickly paint your target or multiple targets. You hit the button and it sort of like really extremely quickly shoots all the things you've painted. It sounds like they're going to have some different abilities or different ways that Deadeye can interact. Didn't really see much of that, but that's what I'm sort of getting a vibe for. And so basically this train sort of gets pulled over eventually. You end up sort of like locking down a couple of the guards that are in there, and you're like trying to convince them to come out. And eventually they end up opening the door. After you blow one of the hatches open, they come out. You end up going into this like carriage, and it's just detailed like hell. Like there's so much detail going on in this carriage. You're looking through this carriage, picking up items. Eventually you find some bonds, you leave, and then like you're tasked with what do I do with the guards? And there's some choice in there. Like, do you want to kill them or do you want to set them free? And so they've introduced choice into the game where that will affect things that happen later on, which is something that we've seen in some of their other games, which should be quite interesting. And so for that case, you can kind of like Dutch is kind of like, oh, look, you deal with them. We're going ahead. We'll see you later. And then you've got that choice of, all right, do you want to kill them or let them go? And maybe something later on will happen. Either way, it's like, it seems like people are going to have different experiences depending on the way they play the game, which should be cool. And then so, yeah, that kind of plays out and they jumped forward in time slightly. And then I got a chance to jump in and play it. And as I was saying, like the first moment that they were just kind of like, hey, you can ride around if you want and check out some of the systems. And that's what I was doing. I was like on a dirt road. Some people were coming towards me. I accidentally rode into them, which they were not happy about. And so I started a gunfight with them. I killed both of them and then had to hide their bodies in like a bush. And as I was like dragging one of the bodies away, another dude came along and he's like, hey, what's going on here? And there are some voice, like some interactions you can do with people. And this is like another thing of like getting the games they've made in the past and like bringing in elements from that. And you've got like antagonize and diffuse, which is something similar from like your LA Noire, where it was like you have all these different choices in there. They didn't say like they didn't tell me this, but that's like the vibe that I'm getting from some of that stuff. And so you can basically try and diffuse a situation from this guy that was walking up and being like, hey mate, just keep walking along. You don't want any of this stuff. And so he was like, oh, okay, see you later. I think it was like, these bodies were already here. I'm just trying to move them out of the way type thing. And he just kind of kept walking. So then I moved the bodies off the road. I went hunting for some animals. Basically, you can skin them and then you put them on the back of your horse. And then also I put the body on the back of my horse. And if you leave them on there too long, it'll attract flies. It'll get rotten. It can make like your horse sick. It does that sort of stuff. So then I went into town.
What?
I sold the meat to the butcher. I sold some of the parts of the actual animal to one of the guys, made some money off of that. I went into the town. It was called Valentine, and it's basically like a livestock town. There are all these different towns in the world, and they sort of behave differently depending on what they do. And so yeah, I'm in this town, and there's people walking all over the place. There's like kids selling newspapers, and like the newspapers will have things in there that maybe you've affected in the world. You can read them. There's different shops in the world. You go into the shop and it's like decked out in terms of a shop where you can walk around, pick up items, look at them. You can like put them in your hand, move them around, inspect them. Like everything is interactable with. You don't just have to go up to the shopkeeper and be like, show me all your things. You can actually walk around the shop and pick them up yourself. I accidentally walked behind the counter and he was not impressed by that. He was like, you need to leave. It's like, all right, dude, chill out. So then I go back on the street. I run into like one of the strangers, and he kind of gives me a mission. So strangers in the world are sort of like side quests. People will remember them from the first game, but they're returning. I end up like just playing around with systems and trying to get an idea of what was going on. So I found a dude on the main street. I gave him a bit of grief using that antagonize system. We started a fisticuffs fight in the middle of the street. So like a punch up.
Awesome.
I knocked the shit out of him. He fucking fell to the ground. Somebody witnessed that. And they went and told the sheriff of the town. I didn't get to the guy in time to sort of like bribe him off or like be like, hey, don't do that. You don't want to do that. I'll cause some trouble. So then the sheriff ended up coming over. He was like basically telling me to leave, and I accidentally antagonized him. I may have run my horse into him, and that kind of pissed him off. And then so he started like a gunfight with me, and so now I'm in the middle of this street with the gunfight with the sheriff, and yeah, all shit breaks loose. I start fucking like killing everybody in this town, and so there's like a wanted level that comes up. I end up not being in a really good situation. I get on my horse, I leave, like they're chasing me, and I'm like shooting at guys as they're like on my horse. As I'm on my horse, like looking behind me, shooting them. And then I eventually lose them. There's like an indicator on the map that shows you like a radius of like, don't go into this area. This is kind of where they're looking at you, looking for you. So like in GTA, it's kind of like you can see on the map the police and where they are. I guess in this one, it's like, this is the area they're going to be looking for you at, and kind of stay away from that part.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so that's really cool. There are, from there on, I went to my base camp. So you'll have like a base camp for your gang, and it'll be sort of, you'll be able to move it around during the game to different areas. And this is kind of where everybody is sort of situated. You can go and talk to everybody. You'll be getting missions from there. And so I ended up going back to this one and triggering another mission, which was basically going to, we had this guy tied up, and you're looking for someone, and you end up going to a cabin, and this is where they introduce some of the stealth gameplay. There will be ways that you can approach the missions in terms of, you don't have to go in gun blazing. You can go in and sneakily work your way through. And so we get there, and I think there were 4 of us at that stage. There was me, 2 gang members, and the guy that we had with us that was like showing us where we should be going. And I was able to sort of like tell my gang members to be like, all right, you go get this guy over here, and I'll go kill this guy, and you could sort of give them tasks to go and do. And so we were kind of making our way through this camp and silently getting rid of people, like picking them off. And then and then I started a firefight with some of them, and yeah, it was really cool, like seeing the different ways you can kind of approach some of these missions. It's just not like going in guns blazing and whatnot. You sort of like, you can go to your horse, who is like a walking inventory chest, and you can equip different types of weapons. Like if you want to go in silently, it's like, all right, I'm going to go equip some throwing knives and use them. Right. And it's that thing of like, everything that you've got on you, you'll be able to see on your character. So you can't just pick up everything in the world and run around with it. Like, you got to really manage what you want in the game. So that was really cool. Like, sort of just figuring out the, it was that Max Payne thing. Max Payne did something very similar of like, all right, here's the kind of 3 or 4 things you can carry, and you'll be able to see that stuff on your body. Like the shotgun will be on your back, and
awesome.
And that sort of thing. Yeah, it was cool. You can loot people. People have like valuables you can pick up and you can trade and sell. What else is there? Oh, some other big stuff. The game will be able to play in first person, entirely in first person as well as third. I thought that was pretty fucking big. That is something that they introduced in GTA on PC.
Yeah.
Which I had played, and it was amazing. So this will be off the bat. You'll be able to play it in first person, which looks, again, amazing. You'll be able to bond with your horse. I talked about like getting it, like you don't want it to get sick. Sorry, there's more than one horse as well, that you'll be able to like stable a bunch of them. I was standing next to my horse when I decided to shoot one of these animals, and the horse got a bit spooked. And so you got to like calm it down. You can like brush your horse so it doesn't get dirty. You have to maintain it. There are like, the horse is really easy to maneuver.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's that thing of like, I was talking about it in Spider-Man a couple weeks back of like, oh yeah, the traversal in that game, like swinging, is really easy to figure out. But as you continue to play the game, you start to learn really complex maneuvers, like how to really get around the city really quickly, and you'll unlock things, and like, it seems basic to start off with, but it gets really complicated. This is sort of similar with the horses in Red Dead Redemption 2, where it's really easy to work out like how to get from point A to point B, but they've got all these other things in there, these like maneuvers that you can do on this horse, which will really affect later on in the game how you get around certain situations. So you can like sidestep, like the horse, like quick turns. There's all these different things that the guys were showing me, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is crazy. So it's not just like you gallop and that is it. You'll be able to really do some cool stuff with the horse, which is a lot of fun. There's like dynamic weather. Like at one stage it got really cloudy and rainy, which was really cool. We were running around the snow at one stage early on in the game, and like the way the horses were interacting with the snow looked really fucking cool. It's going to give, I feel like, God of War some run for its money on that snow bit. You know, like you get to the top of that tower, the mountain, and you sort of like the footprints. Yeah, it's going to give some, it's going to give that some challenge. You can like dress up your player. There's like a wardrobe you can go into. You can customize the look of him. You can get haircuts. You can't grow facial hair. Sorry, you can't grow back facial hair. It basically grows back while you're playing the game. It's not like, oh, I want to have a beard. And you go into the wardrobe and now all of a sudden you've got a beard. It's like, no, you need to actually grow a beard. Or the same way like getting your hair cut. It's like you can only remove hair from yourself. You can't add hair. So that's something I thought was quite interesting, the way it worked. There is like a stamina mechanic and stamina system, and like the types of food you eat will affect your weight, and then that will affect like other attributes in the game. So you can become a fat dude and run around.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Like San Andreas. Amazing.
Yep. There's a lot going on this game. It's just there's like crafting systems that you can go in and do. I didn't get a chance to play too much with that, but it's definitely in there. There's just so many different like systems in play and how they interact with each other and sort of like how that affects the world as you run around. This was like, I was not expecting this much detail in it. Like you kind of, like GTA wasn't like this, right? It was like you go from mission to mission. There's all these cool little bits and pieces in there, but otherwise it was a really solid game with a lot of cool stuff. This one is like, all right, today we're going to go hunting. Like they've completely revamped the hunting. Like you track animals and you've got to use like, there's certain bits of bait you can use. And like, if you shoot the animal in the wrong spot, you'll damage its coat and you won't be able to sell it as much, or you might not be able to sell it at all. And then like the whole thing of like, oh, you have to put it on the back of your horse and carry it around with you. And maybe you'll lose it or someone will kind of try and rob you.
Oh my God.
Just like, oh my goodness. Yeah, man, it is insane.
What about how all this is going to play into fucking Red Dead Online as well? Holy fuck.
So, yeah, that's something they announced today. I didn't get any information about that. I jokingly asked them about Battle Royale. I was like, oh, you guys going to have fun with your Battle Royale mode then? And they're like, yeah, it'll be good. So, yeah, the vibe I get in terms of online, it'll be pretty similar to GTA.
GTA Online, yeah.
That's kind of what I'm getting.
We still have to play that, by the way. I still really want to play that. I've still got it installed, and I'm very keen to do a heist. What you do it?
Yeah, and that's, I feel like that's, like GTA Online had those cool systems in there of being like, all right, you're earning money, you're buying like houses and doing them up and whatnot. And now I'm thinking like, all right, you've got all these cool systems in this game, like being able to rob people and steal their stuff. Like that sounds so cool in a fucking cowboy game, like a Western game.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. I asked if I could see the map, which they were more than happy to show me. I didn't think they were going to do that. The game looks pretty big. They are telling me it is the biggest game they've ever created in terms of scale.
Sweet.
So that was cool. I did not get... It was grayed out in terms of the places they went to. Like, it was not explored. But the places we had gone to, it was quite significant. There was a lot going on there. Because it does that thing of, like, when you go from one place to another and you're talking to the other people, it does that really cool... the Rockstar thing of like, you're going to get a bunch of information out of these people. They do that, but this time as well, you'll be able to talk to people individually and trigger conversations with them, because sometimes you might not just be writing with one or two people. There could be more than that. And so you'll be able to select who you want to talk to sort of trigger those story beats, which is cool. And so they kind of, as we were walking through like to the next objective, you trigger that cinematic moment and you sort of just sit back and the horse will sort of follow the person in front of you and you get these cool camera shots. And then that was the point where I was like, can I see where I've been? Like, how far do we kind of travel? Because it was like a minute or two of listening to people talk. But then you kind of get an idea of how far you've gone. And yeah, the world looks enormous, looks massive. And they were like, hey, the train sequence that we saw, this is where we are at the moment, and that's where it was when we're looking at it, like the snowy mountains up there. Like, you can go there. It's that Skyrim thing of like, if you can see it, you can go to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks awesome. There is a lot going on here that looks super impressive, and in 4K it looks amazing. The only thing I will add as a negative is that it was a little framey. At the same time, it is a preview build, so that is stuff that we see all of the time, and we usually don't bring it up. But because I don't have anything negative to say, that's all I can really say is like, be cautious. We don't know what the frame rate will be like, but
Yeah.
usually they fix that sort of stuff, right? So,
Oh yeah, yeah. It wouldn't be close to optimized.
no.
Yeah.
And they were saying it was the first build, like the first 4K build they've shown off. So,
Yeah.
otherwise, that was extremely minute in terms of anything negative to say about it, because it looked, everything they showed off, I was like, I don't know, my mind is just exploding right now. And that stuff doesn't happen often. Like, there are small amounts of games where I walk away, I'm like, holy shit, that is nuts. Like, the Cyberpunk stuff was one of them recently.
Yep.
And for the fact that this is out so soon, like, it's out in 6 weeks. Or 5 weeks, I think, by the time. Yeah, that looks sick. You've got any questions at all?
No, man. I mean, I can't. I'm just so fucking pumped to go check it out. I mean, yeah, I can't think of any questions. I feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, there's a lot. I'm sure when you check it out later, you'll be like, all right, fair enough. Like, in my demo, there were smokestacks. Maybe this is what you should go do. There were like smokestacks that I could see, and I didn't go check them out. So maybe go do one of them and see what that's all about. But it seems like that cool thing of having all these dynamic things happen to you in the world, and like, all right, do you want to play this as a fucking outlaw cowboy, or, you know, this badass dude, or do you want to play by the rules and sort of redeem yourself? And sort of how that will affect the world and what goes along around you. Like, what happens if I murder all these people in this town? Apparently they put bounties up and people will come fucking hunt you down.
Sick.
And if you want to pay off your bounty, you kind of go like to the train station and pay off like the bounty that way. But like, what if you don't do that? And the entire time you're just an outlaw. I'm curious to see how all that stuff sort of plays out. So, yeah, it looks pretty good. Looks all right.
Yeah. Pretty good. Oh, man. Holy shit. Hiding bodies and shit and threatening people. It sounds fucking bananas. It sounds like out of control. Yeah.
And just the detail of it, like being able to go into shops and walk around.
Shit and the hunting shit. And yeah, holy fuck.
Yeah. The horse stuff was interesting because I didn't like, hey, here's all the things you can do with your horse and like different ways you can maneuver around the world. Like apparently that will become important, or, you know, help you be better at the game, I guess, because you'll be able to outrun some of these guys later on. Yeah, it looks very good. I don't think people hopefully shouldn't be too disappointed. Like, from what we haven't seen a lot of it, but from what I've seen, I'm like, oh my goodness. Unless they fuck something up really badly, like maybe the story just sucks and it's the same thing over and over again. Right. But otherwise,
that's dramatically unlikely, though.
Yeah, I mean, that's not like Rockstar. The other thing is, this is not a Rockstar like North game or a Rockstar. It's Rockstar like New York or stuff like that. This is like their collaboration. Everybody's working on this one.
Yeah,
which kind of explains why they haven't done anything for 5 years.
Yeah. They're busy making the biggest game of all time.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. But yeah, man, it looks amazing. Like the graphics, the just the look of it alone is like, oh my goodness. This looks so cool. When this game comes out on PC, it's going to look even more outstanding, and I don't understand how it could do that, but it's going to.
Fuck yes. Cool. 2 hours. 2 hours, baby.
Yeah. So they kind of played the first train sequence to sort of show it how it looks like not an idiot plays.
Right.
And then they were like, all right, do you want to play now? I'm like, what? Yeah, I would play. Because, I've talked about this to you, but like I was interested to see how Rockstar was going to handle their presentation of games, because they haven't done one for so long. And since then, you've had like streamers come along and influencers, and like the market has changed. And
I assume they weren't letting people record.
I didn't ask them, but I assume that's usually a no. I don't know about audio. I didn't record audio, but like, yeah, it was classic Rockstar. It was like your very own E3 presentation of like, all right, we're going to sit with you and you alone in this room. One person's going to play it, and the other person's going to talk to you about the game and that sort of thing. Like classic Rockstar. Every time I've been to a preview for them for the last 10 years, that's the way they've always done it. I think you and I did a preview once together, and that's the only time it's ever been like more than one person.
Yeah.
I think it was like LA Noire or something like that. I can't really remember. But like, like Max Payne was like by myself. I think I did an LA Noire by myself as well at some stage. But yeah, it was classic Rockstar of like, you feel fucking special when you're sitting there by yourself and they're talking to you directly. And, you know, it's not like E3 where you can't, sort of E3 is like someone talking to like a room of people, and you can't really ask questions because they're on script, and sometimes they'll go off it a little bit, but generally it's you sitting there listening, whereas this is like 2 hours.
Times that they need to hit, and like, markers they've got to hit, and the biggest bosses of all are just in the next room, or they might even be in the room with them at the time, and all this kind of shit, and you're like, this is... Like by the end of E3, they'll be able to do this presentation in their fucking sleep.
Yeah. Or it's not like the thing if we've got 6 stations set up and it's 10 minutes of gameplay, and there's like no developer or there's no one from the company there representing it. So like Rockstar is very particular about the way they show off their games, and they do it very well. Yeah. So I think, I think it's going to be big. I feel like it's going to be huge, this one, from what I've seen.
Hell yes.
All right.
Hell yes. Some more Call of Duty details.
Okay.
Black Ops 4. The launch of Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is just the beginning, is what Treyarch put out. Like, just I got a link. I got sent a link to it, and they're bringing out a bunch of stuff. So many places that we want to go to with Blackout. The map and gameplay rules that you experience at launch are just the beginning. So it sounds like extra maps. We'll continue to support the community with map updates, expansions, and new Blackout modes for everyone. No idea what that means, but I hope it's good. Yeah, I'm pumped.
Cool.
Anyway, overall, fantastic. I'm fucking pumped. 2 hours. 2 hours left before I can play it. I'm not thinking about anything else at this point.
Yeah.
I'm just locked in. I can't fucking wait. It's going to be fucking amazing. Yep.
Cool. Should we just... October 28th?
That's so fucking close. Ugh.
That's just, you did not hear me guessing just then. October 26th, so yeah, around then. Yep, it's very soon.
Sweet.
I don't know if there'll be I feel like they're probably going to release a trailer or something, or maybe one of those videos that we're doing. I don't know. I don't actually know. So I feel like they'll probably do something to coincide with this preview release. So yeah, there could be some more details out that I don't know about, but we'll see. Anyway, that'll be out by the time you hear this, because I definitely can't post this early. This will be going up. Yeah, afterwards.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. All right, so do some news.
All right, news.
I've got here the PlayStation Classic Mini. This was announced yesterday.
This went on pre-order at 9 a.m. or 9:03 apparently today, and I was pretty close to pre-ordering it. I love my PlayStation. It was a good console, but I didn't pull the trigger because they haven't announced what games. There's going to be 20 games, but they haven't announced what the games are yet. So I am holding off. I might be making a mistake. It might have already sold out, and I've goofed. But I refuse to jump in unless I know what games I'm getting.
Is it weird that they're not announcing?
I guess they just haven't fucking confirmed them all.
It'll be like Crash Bandicoot, right? For sure. Stuff like that.
What are they announced so far? Final Fantasy VII, Jumping Flash.
Final Fantasy VII, that's huge.
Ridge Racer Type 4, Tekken 3, and Wild Arms. Wild Arms is pretty good. Never really enjoyed it, but I think I like Tekken 2 more than Tekken 3. Never really enjoyed the Ridge Racer games. I have no idea what the fuck Jumping Flash is. And yes, obviously Final Fantasy VII is amazing, but I'm not I'm not spending 250 fucking bucks or whatever the fuck it costs, 150 bucks for a console to play Final Fantasy VII. That's insane. I need to know more. I need to know what else there is. Bushido Blade would make it an instant buy for me, or Metal Gear Solid 1 would make it an instant buy for me, but without details on either of those two. I don't know. Maybe Bubsy 3D, eh? Everyone loves a bit of Bubsy 3D. No, I've got no idea. What do you think, Luke? Thoughts?
I never had an original PlayStation, so I'm good.
Fair enough.
Yeah. It's, I'm sure I can understand why people are excited. I feel like I was hearing the price was a bit expensive. A lot of people were about that.
Yeah. I guess. But yeah. I don't know. Like, it is what it is, right? Like, it's a classic console. They're always pretty expensive. I mean, I guess we run into the same problem that I had with the NES Mini, right? Or the SNES Mini or whatever the fuck. Like, I could literally build you one cheaper with a Raspberry Pi. I could probably put something together to play literally every fucking PlayStation game for 50 bucks. I don't know if the Pi would crank out the power required for a PlayStation like PS1, because it's always been notoriously difficult to emulate. But I'm pretty sure the emulators are pretty close to being good enough these days.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a bit more difficult than the old SNES emulator, which will run literally on a phone. I think there might be a PlayStation emulator on the phone. If there is, then too easy, baby. Do it. And then you can just always only play Bushido Blade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
What else? Yeah, I don't know. That's about it. It's approximately 45% smaller than the original PlayStation. Fair enough. Plays in 480p or 720p. And yeah, I guess that's it. Comes with a HDMI cable, 2 controllers for local multiplayer. Cool. See, it's got 2 controller ports, so you could always you could plug the controller into the second port so you can fight Psycho Mantis in MGS. I don't know. Anyway, it's a cool idea, but yeah, I don't know if it's going to be worth it until I know what games are on it. What's the next piece of news? Alan Wake TV show in production.
Yeah. So Remedy announced this, that they're developing a TV show for the Alan Wake IP. It's going to be created by Peter Colloway, who was a producer or is a producer on Legion. Also wrote a couple episodes on there, and is also working on Cloak and Dagger at the moment. Who wrote some of the episodes on that. So Yeah, I believe Sam Lake will be also a producer on this. This is not like a solid. This is happening. This is like they're working on production, so it may not come to fruition. Who knows? I guess they'll be looking for a network to try and sell it to at some stage. I feel like maybe a Netflix would be a good place to start. I don't know if this would play out on a proper network other than where's Legion these days? Is that FX?
FX, yeah, I think.
Yeah,
pretty sure.
Because Legion is pretty weird in terms for a TV show. I feel like Alan Wake would be quite similar.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man. Whether or not this thing takes off the ground would be interesting to see. I saw a lot of people passing it off as it's going to be. Like, oh, this is happening. It's like, no, this is not happening. They are starting production on it. It may not make it. So, I guess we'll see. But, yeah, man, I'm excited. I've been watching Twin Peaks recently. I've not seen it before.
Right.
And I guess Alan Wake was based heavily off Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Shows like that. Lost as well was another big one. So, yeah, I've been watching Twin Peaks. It's all right. I'm waiting for it to get a bit weird.
Oh, my God, man. I find Twin Peaks to be just fucking so slow.
Did you watch the whole thing?
No, because it was too boring.
Right. I'm watching I'm like the last episode of the first season, and yeah, I thought it got weird. Nothing weird's happened yet. So maybe it's the second season where weird shit happens.
Cool.
We'll see. Anyway. Yeah, so I don't know. That could be interesting. Alan Wake, I liked a lot. Who would be who would you get to play Alan Wake? Do you have anyone in particular?
No.
Would it be someone young, or would you go for someone older?
Like middle-aged John Hamm. That'd be interesting.
All right, yeah.
He'd be a good...
John Hamm seems to play everything.
That's why I like it. Yeah, who are you thinking?
I went with Matthew Fox just because he was originally supposed to do it. Yeah.
He was supposed to do it, was he?
Yeah. Yeah.
When?
Back in the day.
Really?
Yeah, I think this is fucking fair enough to talk about. Yeah, I had heard that they were going to do an Alan Wake movie at one stage.
Yeah.
And they had spoken to Matthew Fox about it.
Right.
This is a very long time ago. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just don't see Matthew Fox, to be honest, as Alan Wake. Like, it just doesn't really fit for me.
So I guess the reasoning behind that was that, like, the series or the Alan Wake was heavily based off of Lost as well, and they were huge fans of that, and so they were trying to do this whole like cross medium thing, and like by releasing the game and also looking at I guess a movie as well. And they must have had Matthew Fox in mind. I don't know, man. That's just what I was told from a very credible source. Extremely credible.
Yeah, I know. I now remember what you're talking about, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I just don't see it.
Cool.
Yeah, cool.
All right, that was the news. That's all we put down.
Nice. Well, that's me done then.
We got any questions?
No, we don't.
All right, easy.
Easy peasy.
We can wrap this up then.
We can. I can go get ready to go play Red Dead.
Yep. iTunes, Android, Windows Store, YouTube as well. You can find us on those places. The Gap, the GA Podcast. Check us out. If you want to send us questions, you can go to our Discord page, thegapodcast.com/Discord, or you can email us, thegapodcast@gmail.com. If you want to find us on social media, you can find us on facebook.com/GAPodcast, twitter.com/GAPodcast, or our website, thegapodcast.com. Has all the links we just talked about, including past episodes of our show. That's all thanks to our Patreon members who help us keep that site running. If you want to help support the show, you can go to patreon.com/GAPodcast. and muchly appreciated.
It's super appreciated. I didn't say it last week, but I appreciated it then too.
Yeah, cool.
Super distracted by the end of the last week's episode.
I think that is it. That is it. Yeah, you can go to... You can go to, for me, Survivor.com. Check out some stuff we're doing over there. I've got a NBA 2K19 review going up. And also Red Dead Redemption stuff as well. It should all be up, I think, by the time you hear this. So, yes, definitely go check that out. What do you got happening?
You can go read my massive, sort of rap on the Bangkok qualifiers on Red Bull. It's basically, in the words of Custer and Gunbar. It's not like I interject a little bit of my own opinion, but it's primarily what they had to say about it. It's got some interesting little tidbits in there. They're like, we don't care about going to BlizzCon was a good one. Yeah. And like talking about how they don't watch the World Cup was pretty good. Some spicy stuff. Yeah. That's about it.
Cool.
Go check it out. It is massive. Yeah. I've been working on another piece. OCE Esports is the JaVale McGee of esports.
Okay.
I've got this operating theory.
Yeah.
That remember how JaVale McGee was mad that Shaq and a fool had turned him into a meme and it hurt his job prospects?
Okay, yeah.
Well, I think the same thing's happening with OCE Esports. And
two-time winner JaVale McGee.
Two-time NBA champion.
And Shaq and a fool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and Shaq and a full MVP, right? Yeah. I'd forgotten. Yeah. We're the JaVale McGee of esports.
Okay.
Because people are like, oh, lol, AUCS. And like anytime any goof happens, that's what people say. Or like at one point in the China game, one of the Chinese players was hiding as Genji in a corner, and the three Aussies like basically walked straight past him, looking the other direction. And in Twitch chat, everyone was like, lol, AU Overwatch, right? But AU Overwatch had 4-0'd Sweden and earned a spot at BlizzCon. So, like, how are you trashing Australian Overwatch when they still booked a fucking ticket to the show, baby? Like, and they full held on Temple of Anubis, which they full held, like, the highest ranked team in the world, while they managed to push all the way fucking through. So it's some hardcore bullshit, but it's basically, and like if JaVale McGee fucks up, everyone's like, lol, JaVale McGee, and then like the flips, like nobody pays attention to any of the good shit he does. So you literally did it. When I mentioned JaVale McGee, you pointed out that he's a two-time winner of Shaq and a Fool when he is also an NBA champion. Like,
I know that.
Yeah.
And he's also a Laker now, so my boy.
But I'm not accusing you of like doing anything wrong. I'm just saying like that's the headspace that everyone's in, right? Like it's captured the mind of everyone to refer to him as Shaq and a Fool before, you know. And I think that's, I don't know, it's an interesting happenstance. But I don't think that story's not going up this week. So, yeah, I just wanted to throw it out there. It's in production. It's being worked on. It's, little piece from the world's best esports channels.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's it. You can find me at twitter.com/Luke Lawrie. And what's yours, Joab?
Joby Jojo. I'll be there shit posting as always.
Come send us some questions if you want to know about Red Dead, and we'll try and answer them next week.
It's a good idea. Awesome idea.
Yeah.
All right. I'm out.
See ya.
Peace.